Hey there! You're listening to Amplify Your Legacy. This podcast is packed with insights and strategies to turn your passion into something that endures for generations. So get comfortable, stay inspired, and let's jump into today's episode with your host, Salana Brown. Hey there, and welcome back to the Amplify Your Legacy podcast. I'm your host, Salana Brown, and this episode is brought to you by Home Club Capital, your nationwide private funding partner for your real estate investment. Learn more at homeclubcapital.com. Today, we have a wonderful guest who is all about helping entrepreneurs turn their ideas into real, sustainable businesses. She's a brand strategist, entrepreneur, and the mastermind behind Nailpreneur Enterprises and NE Consulting. She is also the host of Open Fact Podcast and the author of the Ideas to Income Volume series, where she breaks down how to grow and scale a business in a way that is practical and accessible. She was born in Jamaica and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. She has worked with countless brands, helping them to amplify their impact and build their legacies. You already know this is going to be a conversation that is full of gems. So let's dive right in. Jhnelle Williams, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here.
All right, Jhnelle, let's start with here and now. You're doing so much in the business world. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what drew you to entrepreneurship?
Okay, so I guess it's probably best to start at the beginning. I like to call myself a serial entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur really before I could legally work. Ever since I was 12, I knew that owning my own business, operating my own business, and helping others do the same felt like my calling. So for the past yearly 20 years, I have been doing everything I can to pioneer a path forward for growing entrepreneurs. And the way I do that is by building businesses and helping others do the same. I have this thing where I try to start a new business or have a new business idea at least once a year. So I have this laundry list of business ideas that I just can't wait to start. But so far, I have a consulting business. Again, as you know, any consulting provides business advice and guidance to growing business owners. I have a podcast called Open Fact where we discuss generational differences and similarities across the diaspora. I have a volume book series where I basically provide all of the business tips and tricks without the fluff. A lot of people, when they go into starting a business, it's very easy to get caught up in buying a class or, being a part of a coaching experience. And I found that a lot of that is geared toward the person who's hosting you're making money. And my objective is to provide people with what they actually need, doing all the research and everything on the back end because I'm aware that time is money. And that's something that we can't get back as much as we try. So I try to create more time for business owners to actually do their business. So they're not worrying about all the little minute details that'll kind of hinder you from growing and moving forward in that process. So I'm all business all the time, but business is my passion and it is my fun. So it doesn't feel like it to me.
So you're all business all the time. What actually is your inspiration? Because you're doing all of the creative process behind the scene. How do you draw your inspiration and what is it from?
Well, as a young Black woman in the business industry, in this sector, it's very hard to find inspiration, I would say, because there are not many people who look like me. But I will say that I have about a handful of female trailblazers that I have watched from the time some of them were, young, adults or even children, people like Kiki Palmer, Issa Rae, Ava DuVernay, Taraji P. Henson, even trailblazers like Aretha Franklin were able to teach me how to recognize my worth, and not only fill up, but take up space and leave a mark and be able to pull up the women behind me. So they'll always be like my Hall of Fame top five. Like those are my go-to girls if ever I'm need just a hint of motivation or something to sort of core me onto the next path. Because it's not easy. I don't think there's anything that we do in this life that, is going to continuously bring us joy all the time. So in those moments where to sort of find my place again and revitalize my love for business, I look to them.
I love it. I love it that you have that inspiration for people that are doing amazing things.
Yes.
That's excellent. Entrepreneurship can be a roller coaster a lot of the times when things get hectic. What do you do to recharge and take care of yourself?
That's a hard question, actually. Sometimes I do the thing I tell people not to do, which is dive more into my business, but I have found ways to sort of find hobbies outside of that. One thing that a lot of people don't know about me is I'm a very avid horseman or horsewoman, if you would call it. I have my side passion is horses. So if I can, any moment that, is available to me, any opportunity, that's where I'll sort of find my peace to recharge and take my mind off of business, give myself, a chance to breathe. And then I'm right back up in the saddle, if you will.
Exactly. Yeah, I get it. Well, that's good that you have that thing to wind down and to recharge because a lot of people just hustle and grind and they regret that they didn't take the time to recover and recharge. I love that you're an author. Your book series, Idea to Income, it breaks down the process of turning a business idea into reality. Good. What's the biggest mistake you see new entrepreneurs make when they're trying to get started?
I would say one of the biggest mistakes is not taking advice, or rather taking the wrong advice. Because like I said earlier, it's very easy going into business to see all of the different avenues and ways to learn and grow. And a lot of those are roadblocks in disguise, I would say. They're set up to kind of keep you in a certain position, stagnant and learning some of the same things, and as opposed to learning what's necessary, what's important, and just moving forward from there and keeping the momentum up. A lot of people get caught up in, little details like maybe creating the perfect color palette for their brand or pricing, things like that make them, not go forward with their business idea and things like that. So I would say the biggest mistake a lot of people make is not being as open minded as they should be for all of the different ways and avenues that they can grow their business.
Okay. So, growing your business, you've done so many businesses and you have a unique approach. I know that you were born in Jamaica and you were raised in Atlanta. Does that have any influence on how you shape your approach to business?
Well, I hate using the tired trope that Jamaicans have a lot of jobs, but as cliche as it is, there's some truth to it in that I would say my heritage has birthed an ambition in me that has allowed me to strive for building all of these different businesses and helping others build theirs as well. So I think definitely my culture, my home country, and the morals and values that it's built upon has helped shape me into who I am as a business owner. And I also think growing up in such a bustling city like Atlanta, where so many great names and faces have come out of this town, have also helped motivate me to keep going and try to be one of the best that have come from here. So absolutely.
Do you come from a family of entrepreneurs?
Yes and no. My mom has sort of helped me and taught me to, strive for what your passion is. And if that changes, then to keep striving for what, the next thing is. So we've always kind of been a family where we have tons of ideas and we do a good job of supporting each other in those ideas and giving each other space to, try it. Hey, let's take the leap. Let's, you know, jump off the ledge and see where this goes. And if it, doesn't work out, then we're there to sort of catch each other, build back up and start over.
I love that. I love that that fire has been given to you through your mother. I think the first entrepreneur in my family that I can remember as a young child was my mother as well. So Okay, so what was your very first business idea? Was it a hit or was it more of a learning experience?
I would say it was both. It started off as a hit, then it sort of died down peacefully into a learning experience, which I think I'll forever appreciate because it also taught me that not every business is forever. Some businesses have their period, they serve their time, and they do what they need to do. But my very first business, I started when I was 12, and it was a photography and videography business. I think right around when I knew I loved cinema, I loved TV. I would watch the TV show and pick apart all of the little things that I noticed, like, oh, did you see that cut move? Or it's a different color now and a different scene. And I love the idea of what that process looks like, taking things apart and making them this greater one. And so I remember taking some, like, days and really, like, putting together what I would call a green room pitch, and I was out to dinner with my aunt and my mom, and I got real with them for a second. They were a bit surprised, and I said, "Guys, I wanna pitch you this idea," as if I was pitching it to, investors and VCs, and I took it so seriously that I think even to them, it sparked this idea and this fire that this is what she wants to do. Entrepreneurship is, it's in her. This is her passion. This is what she loves. Like I would tinker with the business before I go outside in public like friends. So no matter how many times I tried to not and I tried to, jump into a job or, sort of be normal, I always found myself being an entrepreneur. So my first business, it was called Ideal Vision, Ideal Image, and it was a video production company. So I would do photography and edit people's photos and do their weddings and things like that.
That's amazing. Wow. We all have defining moments in our business journey, right? Was there a specific challenge or setback that really shifted the way that you approach businesses for yourself and for others?
I don't think there was a specific setback. I think it was just sitting back and especially when COVID hit and businesses boomed, nearly everyone who had capability had a business and seeing that a lot of people went into that industry with very little tools and at the end of it was very disappointed because their businesses weren't cooking off the way that they wanted it to or anticipated to. I think that kind of really set it in for me that, a lot of people are ill prepared, and I was ill prepared at one point, and I wanted to be the person that I was looking for at that time. I wanted to be the resource that I knew people needed to help their businesses grow and flourish and thrive. So it was just a combined realization that people need help. And in order to, find that help, sometimes you have to be it.
That's so true. I really feel that helping other people is really a gift that you have. I've known you for a long time. And just to see you in this space, I've always seen you busy, active, good energy. And I love that about you. So I think another question that I have is when did you realize that you had the gift for branding and strategy? Was there a particular aha moment that made everything click for you?
I actually didn't. And to be honest, I still don't. My friends and my clients and my peers, they're the ones that pour into me. They're my village. So any chance they get, they lift me up, they encourage me, they sort of make it plain that like this is your thing. Like if there was anyone else where this was what they needed to be doing, like this is what you do. Like I'll do something that for me it seems like, something regular, like, it'll take me 3 minutes to, draw up a logo for a friend, and I mean, they're mind blown when they get it, and so grateful and so appreciative, and I think in those moments is when I realize, "Okay, I think this is where I'm supposed to be, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing," and then I just see the growth from there, and it keeps, like, motivating me and giving me fuel to just keep going when I can see that it's actually working.
Yes, I love that. You're helping others keep going in business. I know you worked with a lot of different brands at different stages. what's one thing you wish every entrepreneur, every brand knew before they launched?
That it's okay to fail. It's okay for your first idea to not work out. It's okay for the name that you choose to not be the best fit for your brand. It's okay for your logo to look wonky. It's okay for your colors to be weird. It's okay. Things Some of the biggest brands that we see and we admire and we seek after, Coca-Cola, Apple, Carol, all of these major brands that gone through changes. Track back their story from the beginning, they was nothing like how they look today. And it's a testament that it is okay. In fact, it's encouraged to continue to grow, fail forward, make your mistake, change, adjust, and pivot because sometimes that's what's needed to grow. Just like there are some plants where like grapevines, when they grow up, they never grow in a straight line. Sometimes they have to curve and curl and bend and that is what is needed to get them to the point of full growth. So if anything, I would say don't be afraid to fail.
I love that. That's so true. That's so true. I mean, a lot of people don't want to start until everything is in line. Everything is
Perfect.
perfect. You never get started that way.
Never, 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 never. And I'm a victim of that as well. I won't say that I'm never, I can't relate to that experience. And I still do sometimes where, I second guess myself or I hold myself to a higher standard than any normal human should. And I go, maybe I shouldn't do this because it's not perfect or maybe it's not the right time or, oh, this market is so saturated. But there's room for all of us. There is room for everyone to grow.
So true. Talk to me about a time when you had to make or help someone else make a really tough business decision.
Okay. So, not too long ago, I was working with a business consulting for them. They were at a point where they were a bit stagnant and they wanted to grow. And one of the big things that I saw that was keeping them from growth was their logo. Something most people think is simple, but if you have read my books in the Idea to Income Volume series, especially Better Business Branding, you'll start to understand how important something so simple as a logo is. And it's oftentimes more important than the business itself because it's the face. It's the first thing they see. It's the front line. And I basically had to explain to them that it would be beneficial for their brand to make a tune, with their logo. And in the beginning, they were very reluctant. There was a bit of sentimental value attached to the original logo, so they were married to the idea, and I got that, and it was okay. But what I sort of laid out to them was if you imagine your logo is a plant, well, a lotus flower to be specific. You ever seen a lotus flower in the wild? They're often closed and covered in a lot of algae, and you can't tell the beauty of the flower from first glance. It's not until you get in there or the nature gets in there and pulls away the algae on all of that muck and stuff that you're able to see the flower fully bleed and open up. And then you realize that that's what was holding you back. That algae, something so small and something so seemingly insignificant, is what was hindering the growth. It wasn't allowing it to breathe. So once I sort of put it in that perspective, they were a little more open to getting away some of that algae, and not allowing their business to suffer and die and get suffocated by what they were holding on to. And now they're able to reach a lot of places and a lot of people and a lot of potential partners that they weren't able to before because that's what was hiding them. And so it I always say sometimes change is good, but all the time change is happening. So it's just best to go with the flow. If you're going against the wave, you'll learn pretty fast, who's stronger, you or that wave. Oh,
Yes. You talked about companies suffering and and dying. There's so much noise in the online business space, right? How can entrepreneurs stand out and create an authentic brand presence?
by being authentically them, I think there is no one else in the world like you. And so the best way to put yourself out there in the most unique way is to be your unique self. Try in drawing influence and motivation from other brands and other businesses, just trying to stay authentic and genuine and really caring about what you do, and you're gonna attract the market that belongs to you. You're gonna attract your audience. They'll come. Your people will come when they see that the person that they have been looking for is out there and they are really caring about what they do. The people will flock.
Yeah, and thriving is really important, especially for small businesses. A lot of them are overwhelmed when they're trying to scale their business. Do you have one simple step? I know there are many. Do you have one simple step that you can share that people who are overwhelmed, businesses that are overwhelmed, can take away?
Don't stop. The best and the quickest way to thrive in a business is to never stop. The minute you decide I'm done, you kill all hope of growth and success and scaling. It's just if you keep going, if you find a reason every day to not stop, it's going to happen. You're gonna beat out all of the other competitors who may have gotten to the point where they're like, I can't do this anymore, or I'm not equipped, or I don't have it, or it's taking too long. If you just keep going, you're gonna rise above the noise. All of that is gonna sort of fall away once you keep moving forward in the direction of moving.
Yes, I agree. And a lot of people are feeling overwhelmed, and time is something that can't get away from them. So time management is a struggle for a lot of entrepreneurs. Do you have a go-to strategy that help you stay productive and balanced?
I make really good use of like scheduling apps, and really just continuing to learn kind of keeps me accountable. If there's ever a period in my journey where I'm able to stop and read or stop and research, that sort of keeps me on track with all the things I need to do, because the minute I'm reading and I'm researching, I'm motivated. I'm driven to do something. And so it keeps the productivity up. It keeps the motivation up, the morale. And I think even my volume theory is a good go-to for if you're just like in a rut, or, you having writer's block or creative block and you don't really know where to go or what to do. I mean, a quick chapter, a quick, blurb or research of something, usually that's what does it for me.
Excellent. This is the Amplify Your Legacy podcast. So let's talk about legacy. How are you intentionally building yours right now? Uh, Whether business, community, or your personal life?
Um, Touching as many lives as possible, I would say, is building my legacy. As long as I'm able to continue to reach far and wide to the people that may or may not need me, because maybe I reach someone who doesn't need me, but they know someone who does. I think that'll continue to build my legacy as much as anything at this point. Is just continuing to show up and be a reaper for the people who, may need me out there.
Awesome. I know a lot of people are on social media. Social media is such a big part of branding. And if someone was just getting started out there, but they're feeling lost, where should they focus their energy first?
They should focus their energy on where they're most comfortable. So, for example, I have a client who is a fashion designer, and where he spends the most of the time is Instagram. And so I tell them that's where you start. Don't jump into something that if you don't really get on Facebook because, that's just where you connect with family or, old classmates. I wouldn't suggest making that like your go-to platform, because kind of in some small way out of your depth in the best way to utilize that to your benefit. So I would say go where you're comfortable, go where the people know your name, be where your tribe is, and then they'll help you expand. I think that's the best way to start.
Awesome. You've worked with so many different brands. Can you share a success story that really stands out to you?
I feel like all of my encounters are success stories, whether they last or don't last. But um, I would say a recent one, a client I actually just acquired. He wanted to create a separate lifestyle brand from what her personal brand was. And within a meeting, our first meeting, I was able to lay out about a 3 months worth of a framework for her. And now things are just moving. And they're like, to the point where sometimes when I see it, I can't believe my eyes. I'm just like, wow, like it's really, we're moving now. Like things are really picking up and she's loving it and she's enjoying it and it's not overwhelming her. I think it's just being able to see firsthand when things like that pulling out like that is the biggest joy to me. And like I said, it feels like a success, even when it's something as simple as she doesn't feel overwhelmed is, the takeaway. Like, okay, I can finally do the thing that I've been meaning to do and I don't feel like I'm gonna fall apart. I think that's a big, big success for me. Like it feels like a win when people are able to just poke my advice and my guidance and stand on their own 2 feet. That's the goal.
It sure is. And that's a big impact for herself and for her brand. That's wonderful. So, for our listeners, do you have any last minute tips that can help them grow their brand? One tip.
Buy my book. Saying it was buy my dirt. Truthfully, because I do think that they'll help. I think that if the whole purpose of inviting them was to give someone who was starting out from nothing a place to start, a starting point, so that they can see that the finish line is in sight. So I honestly think it's the best. I mean, numerous people have come to me and said, if I did not know, before how, now I do, or I wish I had this when I did start, because it really it cuts out all of the fluff, all of the insignificant things that you would get caught up looking at and researching, and it'll just cloud your mind. It gives you a simplified way to just begin.
Okay, great. So, what's next for you? Do you have any exciting projects, events, or book launches we should be looking?
I will be doing an official book launch for the volume series for the first I call it the first part, the first 3 books. Close to fall, so I would say be looking out for that. I will be announcing that soon. But other than that, I just plan to continue to expand the series. I'm always taking suggestions and advice and recommendations for what people want to see and what they need. The next book that I am currently working on is all about money and pricing, and I know that's one thing that's really important to people building your business. So that's what's next step for me, just building out my volume series as much as possible to provide many tools and guidance and advice that people need to start their business.
Well, that is going to be so very helpful, and we can't wait for you to launch it. So, where can people connect with you and learn more about how they can work with you?
Absolutely. So I am on Instagram, the idea to income, where you could go directly to my personal Instagram. It's J.H.Now. I'm also on YouTube via my podcast, Open Fact. So any of those ways, I'm open to connecting with anybody about, anything on either of my platforms. So if you're watching a podcast, like, oh wait, I remember C help with businesses and you want to just comment a question, I'm like, you can respond. I'm no stranger to communication. So, or people, I mean, if you see me or you know someone who knows me, feel free to ask them to, give you my number or reach out to me or stop me in the middle of the street and say, hey, I have a question. I'm really open to being that resource to people because I know that that's something that a lot of people don't have. So, yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you, Jhnelle, today. This has been such a joyful conversation. I love how you're making businesses succeed and grow, and you're making business building accessible and helping entrepreneurs turn their ideas into real impact. I want to thank you so much for spending time with me and for sharing your journey and insights with us today.
Thank you so, so much for having me. Again, it's been an honor.
To our listeners, if you found this conversation valuable, which I know you did, make sure to connect with Jhnelle online and check out her Idea to Income series. And don't forget, today's sponsor is Home Club Capital, your nationwide private funding partner for real estate investments. Visit homeclubcapital.com to learn more. That's all for this episode of Amplify Your Legacy. A huge thank you for listening in today. I hope today's conversation has sparked some reflection on your own legacy. Let's keep the conversation going. Connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram at Solana Brown. And visit solanabrown.com for more resources on growing and preserving your legacy. Be sure to leave a rating or review. It helps others discover the show. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out on future episodes packed with inspiration and actionable strategies. Until next time, keep amplifying your legacy.